Hi guys, welcome back. In the previous video, I left you with a little task that you figure this thing out here, y over r divided by x over r. And just to take you through this quickly, if we apply our division rules and in terms of brackets, we know got to take a reciprocal there, and you can see r divides r, and we are left with y over x. And what I want you to notice is that y over x is equal to tan theta actually in this triangle that we had previously. But what is y over r? Y over r is sine theta. And what is x over r? X over r is cos theta. So what we have just done here, we have proven the quotient identity that sine theta is equal to tan theta. Another important identity, folks, that we need to know. Now, I mentioned the fact that we are going to deal with some special triangle angles. We're going to address special angles in this section, and that's why I have drawn these three red triangles here. One thing that you should note, we've got 90 degrees angles. Very good. After that, the next special 90 degrees also a special angle. So I'm going to put a 90 degree there. According to the sums of angles in a triangle, that angle there should be 0. So that's why I'm putting a 0 there. And we are doing this because, as I said, special angles are from 3 special triangles. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do, the next special angle lesser than 90 degrees is the angle 60 degrees. The next is 45. Now, this one is a very special triangle because it's isosceles, so the two base angles have to be equal. Then the next angle after 45, which is special, is 30 degrees. And we have gotten all that now. That being said, we now need to figure out, or rather, I'll now take you into the next step that you guys have got to know, and that is the step that is very, very important to memorize, if I should say, or very, very important for you to know. And I need you to listen very carefully as I talk through the step. So the very next thing now that you are going to do, this should be 0 degrees here. Now, this is what you're going to do. The biggest angle in all these triangles is 90 degrees. So we're going to work in square roots. We're going to start with square root of 4 to 3 to 2 to 1 to 0, because we've got about 4, so to speak, we've got 90 degree as a special angle. We've got 60 degree as a special angle. We've got 45 degree as a special angle. And we have 30 degrees as a special angle, okay? And then lastly, 0 also as a special angle. So every side which is opposite to 90 degrees, we're going to give it the square root of 4, which is 2. So that should be a 2. This should be a 2. That's 90. So that should also be a 2. The next biggest angle is 60. So we must give that the square root of 3. There's no 60 elsewhere. The next biggest angle is 45. So we should give that the square root of 2. The next angle is 30. We must give that the square root of 1, which is 1. And finally, the smallest angle is 0. We must give that the square root of 0, which is 0. Now, in each angle, we're going to figure out, in each triangle, we're going to figure out the angles for sine, cosine, and the tangent. I'm going to start here with the sine. Sine, let us start with the smallest angle to the biggest angle. Sine 0. There's the triangle with 0 degree angle. Sine, we know it is opposite, so opposite is 0 over hypotenuse, which is 2. So that means sine 0 is 0. We move to cos 0. Cos 0 degrees is adjacent over hypotenuse. there's adjacent, there's hypotenuse, 2 over 2, which is 1. We come to tan 0. Tan 0, there's the angle 0, is opposite, which is 0, over adjacent, which is 2. That leaves us with a 0. The next angle that we want to deal with after 0 is 30. So we figure out sine 30. We move to that triangle. If I'm here, the opposite is 1, and the hypotenuse is 2. So sine 30 is 1 over 2. Cos 30. If I'm there, the adjacent is square root 3. The hypotenuse is 2. Tan 30, the same thing, right there. My opposite is 1. My adjacent is square root 3. The next angle is 45. And so we move to the triangle which has 45 degrees. Now here, it doesn't really matter where you stand because anywhere you stand, you will be okay. Let us take that. Tan is, sine 45, opposite over hypotenuse. So that's square root 2 over 2. Cos 45 is also the same story, coincidentally. The adjacent is square root of 2 over 2. You will see why I'm ironically saying coincidentally in the next section when we deal with cofunctions. Actually, I've kind of covered that in the first video, but I'll make it more clear later on. Tan 45, as you can see, opposite is square root 2, adjacent is also square root 2. That's 1. And then the next angle is 60 degrees. And then we go to the angle 60 degrees, and we can see there the opposite is the square root of 3. The hypotenuse is 2. And of course, here we are dealing with cos. We want to figure out what cos 60 is. And you can now sing this with me. I've repeated it too many times. Cos 30 should be no surprise. It will, cos 60, it will be 1 over 2. Tan 60, it is right there, square root of 3 over 1, and that is square root of 3. Finally, the last angle is 90 degrees. What is sine 90? We look at this angle here, and then we see its opposite, okay, over hypotenuse. And so that happens to be 2 over 2, which is 1. And then cos 90, also, let us see adjacent is 0, hypotenuse is 2. That gives us a 0. Tan 90, let us see, opposite is 2, but the adjacent is 0. And so this leaves us with an undefined answer. We know this one. We cannot divide by 0. So this is the long and the short of dealing with special angles or finding special angles in trigonometry. They come from 3 special triangles. And remember, I said this is important for your speed when solving trigonometric expressions, when simplifying them. We will get to that in a short while. I just want to lay off the foundation and show you where this kind of special identities come from. I will talk about cofunction reduction, and I'll talk about the 180 reduction. I'll talk about those reduction formulae, and then after having discussed reduction formulae, then we will get into some examples. So far, what I'll challenge you to do is try and see if you can draw these 3 triangles and figure out the special angles by yourself. Thank you very much. Keep watching and keep learning and pass the math. Thank you. Cheers.